There's a little diner in Tokyo that only opens after midnight. On the menu, pork miso soup, beer, sake, shochu, and whatever the chef can whip up from whatever he's got on hand. Or maybe whatever your soul needs that day. Now let me be honest. Midnight Diner isn't loud. It's not plot twist heavy. And honestly, that's exactly why I put off reviewing it for the longest time. Not because it's bad, far from it. But how do you review a show that feels more like being than just watching? Then suddenly, one night, it hits you. You wish there was a place like that in your own neighborhood. Somewhere small, warm, judgment-free. Somewhere you can be weird, tired, lonely, and still get a hot bowl of something that feels like a hug. This isn't a Hollywood drama. Nobody's saving the world or landing a spaceship. These are quiet stories about ordinary people, small mistakes, soft regrets, late-night cravings, and the kind of simple food that doesn't just fill your stomach. It fills something you didn't know was empty. The dishes aren't fancy. They're familiar. Like that one meal that takes you back to your mom's kitchen, or reminds you of something you didn't even know you missed. Welcome to Real Talk, where we spill the tea on movies and all the madness in between, with wit, sass, and zero sugarcoating. I stumbled on Midnight Diner a few years ago, just looking for a cozy Japanese food show. I didn't expect much, but 2 episodes in, I was hooked. It's oddly comforting, not flashy, not dramatic, no cliffhangers, just quiet stories that sneak up on you. They don't punch you in the gut, they tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, remember this feeling? Sometimes they make you smile, sometimes you sit there with watery eyes, not quite crying, but definitely feeling something. And weirdly, sometimes the food brings that feeling out even more. I even picked up a few recipes. That creamy Japanese potato salad, it's everything. Cheap, satisfying, nostalgic. And don't even get me started on the grilled heirloom tomatoes wrapped in bacon. Simple, weird, perfect. And that's kind of the whole vibe of Midnight Diner. Simple is enough, and sometimes it's exactly what you need. Midnight Diner is based on the beloved manga Shinya Shokudo by Yaro Abe. It first aired in Japan from 2009 to 2014 on MBS and TBS, running 3 seasons. Then Netflix Japan picked it up and added 2 more seasons under the international title Midnight Diner, Tokyo Stories, 2016 and 2019, with the same cast and the same late-night magic. Each episode spotlights a new customer, some funny, some aching, a Yakuza boss, a failed actress, a stripper, a lonely grandma. They come for the food but leave you with something deeper. The master mostly listens, occasionally nods, rarely judges, rarely offers advice. But somehow, the dish he serves always ties to the core of the story, a memory, a regret, a craving they couldn't explain. This show doesn't scream, it simmers. You won't get jump scares or dramatic reveals. Instead, you get moments so real, they'll linger in your head longer than any superhero movie. The food? Nostalgic. The characters? Familiar in a way that might creep up on you. They're not cinematic. They're you, your neighbor, your ex, your past self, or someone you might become. Let me introduce you to the diner crew. Master. He's the quiet heart of the diner and a walking enigma. Everyone just calls him Master. Chef, bartender, part-time therapist, full-time mystery. His food? Warm, simple, soulful. His past? Murky. There's a visible scar down the left side of his face. One episode implies it came from a sword fight in a former life. Yes, sword fight. But the show never spells it out. Yakuza ties? Could be. Could also just be gossip. But Master runs his kitchen with calm, quiet wisdom, and just one rule: 3 bottles of booze per customer. Unless, of course, you have a story that earns you 1 more. Chusan, a retired regular and the unofficial comic relief. Chusan is that slightly cheeky grandpa who always drops by after visiting a strip club and talks about it with the kind of nostalgic charm that somehow isn't creepy. He's not the star of the show, but he's always there, drinking, chuckling, throwing in harmless advice, and reminiscing like life is one long after-party. Kosuzu, a proud cross-dresser and owner of the local gay bar just down the alley. Always fabulously dressed, always ready with the sass, and never shy about giving someone a piece of his mind, especially if they're judging his friends or his employees. He gossips, sure, but with loyalty and love. You will remember Kosuzu, not for any dramatic arc, but for the way he owns his space. The Ochazuki sisters. That's the nickname Master gave them, and it stuck. 3 unmarried office ladies who drop by every night and always order Ochazuki, rice with hot tea or broth poured over, topped with salmon, cod roe, or pickles. They side-eye everyone's drama like they've got season passes to a live soap opera. Once, they even loudly debated asking out a good-looking guy who sometimes dines there, until one of them deadpanned, "If he's eating at this dump, he's definitely not rich." Master nearly choked on his miso soup. But under the sass, they're just tired of work, tired of waiting for Mr. Right, tired of pretending. They're funny, sometimes harsh, sometimes sweet, but always relatable. It's a short episodes about under 30 minutes each. You're not watching the characters from a distance. You're sitting quietly next to them in that tiny Tokyo diner. Along the way, not only the story touch your heart, the food makes you a bit hungry, crave for some drinks. And yeah, you learn about the culture. You learn that in Japan, adult entertainers, strippers, nude models, even adult film stars can be publicly admired, idolized even. It's not hidden. You'll find their photo books stacked right next to fashion mags at the corner 7-Eleven. But here's the twist. It's acceptable, as long as she's not your daughter or your sister. That quiet contradiction, Midnight Diner doesn't yell about it, it just shows it. Because most of Master's regulars, they're night workers, club hostesses, strippers, cabbies, failed singers, washed-up comedians, the kind of people society pretends not to see. But Master sees them. He cooks for them. He lets them be. No lectures, no shame. Just hot soup and a place to sit. And that's what makes the show quietly radical. Now, the stories? They aren't big. But they land big. Like warm sake on a cold night. They slide in gently, then suddenly hit you right in the chest. There's an episode about an older woman. She's in her 60s now. Once she dreamed of being an actress. Now, she scrubs floors in a dingy hotel to make ends meet. At her brother's funeral, she meets her grown nephew, a man in his 40s, no job, no ambition, nothing. Chusan tries to help by scolding him, but she snaps, "It's none of your business." Why? Because for the first time, someone needs her. Not out of pity, not out of obligation, just need. And in that need, she finally feels seen. You might want to yell, "Girl, no, he's a mess, protect your peace." But then you see her smile, small but real, and you get it. It's not about fixing someone. It's about finally feeling like you matter. Then there's the fading comedian. He used to kill it on stage. Now the jokes fall flat, and his ego's even flatter. He's bitter, rude, clinging to the crumbs of his old fame. Meanwhile, his former assistant? Glowing up. Movie roles, stardom, respect. And still, he sticks around, trying to honor the man who gave him his start. But old pride dies hard. The comic treats him like trash, until the assistant walks away. Still, when he vents to Master, he says, "He took me in when I'd lost everything." And Master just quietly replies, "Maybe now it's your turn to do the same." Turns out, he did. The assistant got the producers to cast him in a new show. Didn't tell anyone, took no credit, he just gave back. Because sometimes kindness still lingers, even when the person who first gave it forgets how to be kind. This one's a bit lighter, but it'll catch you off guard. A middle-aged guy loses his mom. They ran a produce shop together. Now he's lost, awkward, and totally helpless. Worse? He's terrified that if he dies suddenly, someone will find his vintage porn stash. So he begs Master, "If I drop dead, please, burn it all before anyone sees." It's giving every Asian mom's favorite line, always wear nice underwear just in case. Because shame? It survives even beyond the grave. Then the dreams start. Mom's ghost shows up nightly. She's trying to tell him something. He's sure of it. The diner crew help him search the house. And guess what they find? Behind a drawer, a stash of vintage erotic illustrations. Tasteful, debatable, embarrassing, extremely. They figure that must be what she was worried about. But even after that's gone, Mom keeps visiting. Only after he ends up in the hospital and a nurse starts falling for him do the ghost visits stop. Because it turns out Mom wasn't haunted by her stash. She was worried about him, being alone. Now that someone's there to care for him, Mom's ghost can finally rest. One episode hit especially hard. A manga artist wins a huge award. He quits his job, convinced this is it. He's made it. Then, silence. No follow-up success. Confidence fades. The world moves on. Eventually, he gives up, goes back to doing meaningless temp jobs, until he meets another ex-manga artist who says, "If it's what you love, do it on the side. Maybe one day, you'll get lucky again." Painfully relatable, right? So many of us thought we had it, thought we were this close. But the truth is, life isn't a straight line. Sometimes we stall, sometimes we crawl, but it doesn't mean we're done. Midnight Diner is quiet, but it stays with you. In a world obsessed with going viral, this show chooses to go internal. It doesn't chase your attention. It waits for you to arrive, hungry, tired, a little lost. And when you do, it feeds you something warm. As Master says, when people finish their day and hurry home, my day starts. And maybe that's the real magic, knowing you're not alone at this table.